Fantastic. Hello, my name is Ryan Nadeau. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you in this absolutely beautiful setting. It's particularly special to be here with the Bavarian organization because my best friend that I studied with in university is from Valheim. His pops would be super proud that I'm here today. He used to be the chairman of Neocorp, and they used to call me Bavarian as my nickname. Though I've recently realized I have more of a clone mindset, which I'll tell you a little bit more about a bit later. I've gone a bit off script in terms of the presentation I was going to give you, and also if I speak too fast, please give me a smile sign instead of the non-smile sign. I'll be sure to slow down for you. All about positive reinforcement. So yes, I'm from San Francisco. I'm one of those young tech millennials you read about in the news. And Gunther, I really, really appreciated your 30-hour work week presentation. I don't speak German, but I resonated with the title so well. I myself have been on a work holiday for the last month and a half, probably a little bit less than 30 hours a week, but it is possible. I still have a job as far as I know when I get back to San Francisco. So I work for a company called Galvanize, and I'll give a quick overview of who we are, where we had come from, and kind of what we're seeing in the market. I'll try to add a German flavor to it, as I've been working with German companies for the last several years, everyone from Festo to Volkswagen to BMW to TÜV Süd, and as well as my name was in the report of the German Commission of Experts in the Science Innovation Report for 2018. I'll take that as a win as well. So what Galvanize is we're an education company across the board, and I'll show you a video after this to give you a visual representation of what it is versus me being up here and talking about it, because it's not quite the same. But what we do is we bring together startups and innovation, people pursuing careers in both data science and modern web development, as well as larger enterprises. We're talking larger enterprises, everyone from IBM to Google, to Accenture, to Booz Allen Hamilton, basically all the large corporations that realize they not only need to tap into innovation, but also the more innovative ways in terms of artificial intelligence, etc., in order to stay alive within the next 30 years, together under our campus ecosystems, right? So we have 9 campuses now across the United States, from New York to Seattle to San Francisco to Austin, Denver, Boulder, and we also just opened a regional hub in Monterrey, Mexico, in partnership with Cemex, which is the largest industrial manufacturer in Central America. It's a cement company that figured out that they're a tech company. Surprise, you're all tech companies, whether you realize it or not, and realize they needed to figure out how to tap into the local innovation economy to stay ahead of the competition for the next several years, all under our one roof. So I can't convert this into square meters, but our campuses are about 800,000 square feet. Our startups number about 3,500. They work out of our spaces, but they also come to our spaces not just to hire talent out of our consumer programs, but to form partnerships with the larger enterprises that are there to tap into their innovative products as well. In terms of hardcore education, we have 2 models. We have the consumer model, which is, say, any one of you or your friends or your children or grandchildren who walk in off the street and say, okay, I want to learn to become a web developer. Or say they have a degree already in some sort of statistics, mathematics, science, and say, this data science shit sounds really cool. I want to learn how to become a data scientist. They come to us and they take a 3-month course. And these 3-month courses, what we developed, kind of goes back to the old school European apprenticeship model, right? Where we're teaching people the actual skills that they need by former industry professionals versus having a professor, which professors are still needed, not hating on that, that teaches them what they need to know for day 1 on the job, what they need to do day 6 on the job, And to develop that curriculum, we work with our Fortune 500 partners to figure out what they need from a data scientist day 1 and month 6, and we reverse engineer that process to create the curriculum that goes into the classroom, right? So our success metric in these programs, it's not a Trump university, is how many students graduate and then get full-time jobs within 6 months in a field related to what they studied with us. And that's currently sitting around 96%. And we're talking 96% with an average starting salary of $118,000. We've had students come through who have had 0 coding or data science experience come out making $500,000. Of course, this is inflated San Francisco salaries, so no worries if you're looking to hire anyone. I can help you. Not for that amount, though, don't worry. So these programs were so successful, we then had our hiring partners start, and that's why we have such a high success rate for the hiring partnerships, come to us and say, okay, we can hire all of your graduates. It's not going to solve our problem. What can we do? So we took a look at their existing workforce, where they were running into problems. We said, okay, well, actually, the problem with you and every single organization on the planet is sitting within your own walls, right? These are people who have been working with you for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. These are people that are incredibly valuable to the company in terms of the domain expertise, the company knowledge, which is irreplaceable and invaluable, right? You cannot recreate that knowledge by hiring one of the new young people off of the street, right? These people are highly valuable, but what do you do when they're no longer relevant to the modern digital economy? Especially in places like Germany, where it's almost illegal to fire them. You have to reinvent the way, not just that you look at them, but the way they look at their own roles within your organization, right? You have to figure out, okay, what are their strong suits, and where can they go going forward? Where can they become relevant? And that's where our organization comes in. And we've worked in Germany, again, we've worked for Volkswagen, and our sort of first real big corporate partner on this front was Allstate Insurance, a multinational billion-dollar organization, been around 100+ years. We've reskilled now 30% of their entire technical workforce. We've taken the people that were coding in languages that I couldn't even tell you what they are used for anymore, that I've never even heard of until speaking with them, and using outdated programming methodologies and taught them cloud development. Right? We found the people, we have a tool that we insert into the organization to create a baseline assessment of the technical skills of the people in the organization. Find out who's good at statistics, who's coding in Python in their spare time, and then we can kind of build a competency map, sort of what we call hidden talents, and find out who has a raw capability, which is anyone at the end of the day, if they have a growth mindset, to become a data scientist, to learn how to use artificial intelligence to help you move your business forward. So we've, to this day, reskilled, I think, 13,000 corporate employees around the world. We insert our instructors into sort of the corporate DNA and everywhere from China to India, here in Germany in Wolfsburg, to the UK. And what we do is we go into these organizations and we figure out, okay, take the company data, which is your oil at the end of the day, and I'll go into this more in my presentation in a minute, and I'm almost half done. This is crazy. I need 20 more minutes. And we use the company data to train these individuals in the classroom on the skills of the 21st century and beyond. Right? So they're actually producing work while they're in your organization. So I'm actually going to start the presentation that I was supposed to start 10 minutes ago. This is me. Is it possible to use that link at the bottom? The YouTube link. Okay. Let me know once it's done, and we'll come back to that. But I want to give you a visual representation so you can see it, because the energy when you walk into our campuses, there are 5 stories, there are gardens on the roof. It's absolutely beautiful. I can try to explain it here, but it wouldn't work as well, right? So, quick agenda. Let's talk about the future of machine intelligence and business innovation, where it's going, why it's important. If we have time, we'll talk about the data-driven versus model-driven enterprise, why the model-driven enterprise is the next step, the data science workflow, how to operationalize it as a leader, and more importantly, your role as a leader in the 21st century. And then principles for model-driven organization. I think we might skip that. But most importantly, it's time to get serious about artificial intelligence. This isn't a science fiction novel or movie, right? This is a conversation that's been happening for 60 years, and it is finally at the forefront, so much at the forefront that the WEF in Davos, the World Economic Forum, which I hope to be attending tomorrow, should all work out. The core topic of the WEF this year is the fourth industrial revolution and how to respond to it. It is a center of what is going to keep all of your businesses alive. If you've been around for 50 years, for the next 50. If you've been around 100, for the next 100, etc. It's transforming everything from the insurance industry to finance to agriculture to government to law. Is there anyone in here that is utilizing artificial intelligence in their organization that they know of? Can you please raise your hand? Got some way in the back, but I can't see to call on them, so they're lucky, because I was going to ask them how. But just to give you more context in terms of the amount of data that we are being bombarded with every single day. In America, we are being bombarded with 10 million data points, and this is more than just Fox News and Facebook people, okay? This is actually important. This is important in the workforce, right? So that is the equivalent of 350 newspapers. Now, even if I gave you the time to read 350 newspapers every day, how many of you are going to be able to summarize and interpret the results of that reading effectively and coherently? I mean, Germans, if anyone, can do it, but I don't think anyone in this room can even operate that efficiently, right? So, as Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, said, we're pursuing AI so that we can empower every person and every institution to build the tools so that they can go on to solve some of the most pressing problems on the planet today. But we're living in an era of the wealth of data. We're drowning in data every day, okay? This is everyone. It's not just everyone in this room. It's everyone on the planet. Infosys came out with a report. If you started implementing artificial intelligence 5 years ago, you see a 39% increase in revenue by 2021. That's how important this is, okay? So it's time to start your journey. Why? Because if you don't, 1/3 of you won't be around for the next 10 years. And that's a fact. That is a statistic. Obviously, it will differ just a little bit for everyone in this room. But if you want to look at the lifetime expectancy of Fortune 500 companies, right? We look at in 1955, lifetime expectancy of someone on the index was 75 years. If we look at 2015, that's gone down to 15. If we look at 2017, that was closer to 8. If we look at today, that's even less than that, right? A lot of these companies have been acquired, but a lot of them have gone out of business because there are a lot of smaller companies that are utilizing the most effective and efficient technology to take their business. And that is only going to go faster and faster and faster. And that's why it's more crucial than ever to really start looking about your role in your organization and how you can participate in the era AI, artificial intelligence. Sorry, I need to realize I need to stop using acronyms in the 21st century. So we'll do the video at the end. The YouTube video is ready, just to make sure I have time, because I'm at 6 minutes and I have so much more to say. And also my speaking notes aren't up here the way I thought they would be, so we'll go a little bit faster. So we can look at companies today, right, that all of these names you should find fairly familiar, and talk about how they're using artificial intelligence. Amazon, for example. I went to a facility, a medium-sized facility, which is freaking huge, and I toured it with one of my friends. He said, Ryan, guess how many packages are coming in here? Oh my God, every day. I said, I don't know, maybe 500,000. He goes, close, more like 5 million. I'm like, holy shit, that's crazy. And he said, yeah, and you know what? You don't see many humans on the floor. Now, years ago, there would be an army of 500 of us down there, sorting packages, figuring out where they go, et cetera, et cetera. But now with artificial intelligence, there are machines that do it for us, and more efficiently than ever, that they could build the most widely successful company in the world, because Amazon inserts AI into every aspect of the supply chain. It's pretty much a giant supply chain organization that has implemented AI, artificial intelligence, across the board. All right? That is their success. That's the key, the DNA of their success. That's it, is utilizing artificial intelligence. Right? From everything from sorting the packages to figuring out what packages to put on what truck to deliver at what time. It's wild. Then you look at businesses that core DNA is artificial intelligence. I'll use Nest for an example. Everyone understand what Nest is? The temperature control company that was acquired by Google for billions of dollars, right? So this is a device that you put on your wall that's connected to your router and then connected to your smartphone as well. And it allows you to put in questions like, okay, I'm too hot, I'm too cold, I'm too hot, too cold for a period of 5 days. And from this, it analyzes those responses based on how cold it is, how warm it is outside, how cold it is, how warm it is inside your home. It knows how far away you are from your home, and it is able to predict when to turn on and to start changing the temperature to get it to the ideal point for you by the time you get to your house, right? Just an example of how AI is built into the actual product. And the reality for everyone in this room, whether you realize it or not, is data is your new gold, it's your new currency, it's your new oil, okay? This is the most important part of your organization that you have. This is what's going to differentiate you tomorrow as soon as you start implementing AI after this talk, and in the future. And it's really, 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 really important to realize that. It's the most important strategic asset of your organization. We'll quickly talk about a model-driven organization. There are a lot of words here, and I realize not everyone speaks English, right? So this is what's happening in the United States right now. Everyone's kind of going from exploratory, looking at historic data, what that means, to reactive. Okay, how do we react to that historical data? To proactive. Okay, how do we give you recommendations on Netflix based on all of your previous or Google videos or YouTube or whatever, based on what you've watched in the future, to automate it. How do we automate that? That's sort of the next step in the actual process. This is an idea of the data science workflow. Okay, again, a lot of words. What you need to realize is that every single one of your business questions can be translated into a data question, every single one of them, right? And you need to have the right people internally to be able to answer these questions for you. So the kind of process is, okay, you ask the right question, you acquire the right data internally, you analyze that data, and then you act on it. But what we're seeing in the United States is that 60% of these multi-million-dollar projects stop at the act phase, okay? The act phase is where the executives come in, right? And that's what the biggest problem we're seeing in industry right now are the executives when it comes to implementing AI and artificial intelligence, right? And that's because a lot of them kind of see this as like, oh shit, you know, not my field, not what we're, you know, we don't really realize what this actually means. There's a lot of fear there. And a lot of unnecessary fear, because it is not that hard. You don't know how to do it yourself. All you have to know is how to ask the right questions and hire the right people, okay? We're in an era where it used to be your experience, your know-how, what you've accomplished so far in your career, that is what's going to help you make the right decisions going forward. But when you're bombarded with millions and millions and millions of data points that we're all of a sudden collecting that have never been collected before, there's no way you can know. And this is where artificial intelligence comes in, because it will help you answer these questions. All right? This is data-driven decision-making. And it is the most important thing I think you should take away from this conversation, because this is what's going to help you survive. All right? A lot of you are family-owned businesses. It's what's going to make sure that this is a business is around for your grandchildren. Okay? You have to make sure that you are asking the right questions and that you're collecting the right data to be able to answer those questions. And you don't have to know anything but, oh shit, my time's up. But to answer the right questions and have the right people to answer them for you. Now, real quick, my video is just 2 minutes. It's fine? Okay, it's fine. Just give you a visual representation of what we do instead of me up here talking.
Companies have changed significantly. Technology has accelerated so much in the past 10 years that it's no longer about whether it's a tech job or not a tech job. Every company is a tech company. If you have a website, you're a tech company. Galvanize is intentionally designed for industry to collaborate with education. So we're teaching students every day in web development and data science. Meanwhile, on our campuses, we have a vibrant environment designed for collaboration. And these aren't just startups and entrepreneurs. These are companies as large as Intel, Insight, Banner Health, large organizations who are trying to bring innovation into their culture. And having the students on our campus to interact with those companies creates a stronger learning environment, and it creates a more innovative environment for the companies.
Education, as well as the workforce, are in need of innovation themselves. Part of that is what Galvanize looks like. We really focus on that we are a learning community. Truly, the most common skills that employers look to us for are not the tech skills. As much as the students come here to learn these technologies, then they do need to have a foundational knowledge of them to move forward in a tech career. The true skill needed is critical thinking.
While I was in the Navy, I was a nuclear trained mechanic. My most recent position before coming to Galvanize was working in IT. I got laid off from that position. So I came here for a 6-month program, and during that time frame, I really enjoyed JavaScript and learning about code. And through the job placement, I was able to find a position that is very fulfilling. It has transformed me and has given me the confidence that I need to go forward as well.
It's an intentional collaboration across the campus, and you can feel the energy, you can feel the vibe here. There's exciting things happening, and there's growth happening here. There was a time when companies could wait several years to develop talent. Right now, they're saying we need talent ready in 3 to 6 months. And so we have to be in an environment where we can accelerate that. And having companies and students together in the same environment, mingling over coffee, working on projects, collaborating, networking, is critical to that success.
So one thing I want to leave you with on that is, again, it doesn't matter if you're BMW, you're a tech company. You're now a tech company that so happens to make really dope cars. Every single one of you in this room is running or operating in a technology company, okay? And data science and artificial intelligence is a top-down initiative, all right? It can be bottom-up, but if it's bottom-up, that bottom-up is going to get to the top, and just like 60% of those projects that I was talking about earlier, they're going to fail because they're not being able to be implemented. That is why it's your job, it is crucial for your organization to really understand the basics on how to implement these projects and understand. It's like sort of going to Mexico. You don't have to learn how to speak Spanish, but if you understand it, right, which is a little bit easier, you're going to be able to get by, right? The buck starts with every single one of you in this room. And as long as you take that responsibility on, which is probably one of your most crucial responsibilities going forward in your career, your businesses should be able to survive the next 100 years. Thank you.